Newsflash, ladies and gentlemen, wrestling isn't real. Well, that's not true. I don't like it when people say that, and I also don't like the word fake. Wrestling isn't fake. I can see it with my own eyes, and I can tell you firsthand, it absolutely hurts like hell. When you take your first bump, your brain actually asks you, are you nuts? And the answer is probably yes. But yes, matches are work, but as the legend Al Snow once said, the only thing fake about pro wrestling is the finish, and everything else is as legit as they come. He ain't wrong. For some reason though, over the last few weeks, WWE has decided to play with this narrative and continually tell us over and over again that wrestling is fake. Okay, cool, but you gotta stop doing that. Why? Here's why. I'm not sure why it has happened so much recently, but it has caught fire both on WWE's TV shows and out there in the land of social media. And in fact, it was there where it first caught people's attentions, because we had everything with Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey, and they were going back and forth, where Ronda all of a sudden decided she was going to call Becky Lynch Rebecca Quinn, which is her real name, and she rubber stamped that by letting us all know that she was gonna go off the script. Given that it is Ronda Rousey, that kind of makes sense when you start to look at it as an angle, because out of everybody in WWE, Ronda Rousey is one person you can actually believe can go out there and whip anybody's ass in the company, be that man or woman. She dominated the UFC for years. I'm pretty sure she's got some fighting skills. So even if it gives you the slightest doubt that she may unleash this for real, well, you'll probably be slightly captivated, and it may even make you go, I gotta watch what she's gonna do, just in case she whoops somebody's ass. This probably would have been fine if it hadn't have then triggered a bunch more incidences which made a lot less sense. The first one we'll talk about is on Raw, where Triple H walked out and he did cut a damn good promo, but within it he said things like, Dave Bautista, this is the man behind the character talking to you, and also don't forget, this has nothing to do with the storyline. What? As for Braun Strowman, well, he was actually answering this redundant question about wrestling's legitimacy, and the way he responded to that was by grabbing the perpetrator and choking him for around about 4 minutes. And even though he did strangle someone for a very long time, it didn't even leave a mark. That was really dumb. And I don't even mind WWE doing this from time to time, because it can be very compelling, especially for fans like us. It's almost like we've been invited to a special behind the scenes party, and we all know what's going on, but nobody else knows what's going on, so it makes us feel all special, like we've got a bunch of friends. There's a sensation that years of learning about the pro wrestling business has finally paid off, and finally, we're getting a sneaky peek behind the curtain. The issue when you do it constantly is that it does create two very specific problems, the first of which is nice and simple. Let's take Ronda Rousey and let's take Becky Lynch and everything that they did. If all of a sudden I'm meant to believe that this has gone off script and this is real, then what does that make the rest of the show? Is that just some fake bullshit I'm meant to ignore? And if so, why would I even bother with it? And also, we know deep down in our heart of hearts that nobody has actually gone off script and gone into business for themselves, because if they had, it would be shut down instantly, and if they kept on doing it, said person would be fired. WWE ain't gonna let that happen without approval. So while it may help you suspend your disbelief in the short term, long term, you're just being reminded over and over and over again how this game actually works. And when you do that, this suspension of disbelief completely erodes. Point two is that there are fans out there who aren't obsessed as we are. They'll watch Raw, they'll watch SmackDown, they'll enjoy it, but they don't feel the need to go on the internet and try and read every single piece of information there is. They just want to see what's going to happen on TV. They don't care how or why Dolph Ziggler's push got upended. So what are these people meant to think when the commentators start acting like what we're seeing isn't part of the plan? It's one thing if you know the direction WWE is heading in, but if you don't, this must be a truly baffling experience. And it gets even worse when insider terms are used. Now, I know that has become common vernacular, both for wrestlers and wrestling fans, but it's not a universal language. Not everybody is using it. So you can't just start painting everybody with the same brush, because if you do, the whole system will break. You've got to be clever. If nothing else, if you do rely on it too much, that's just lazy. It's been proven time and time again that if you have the right wrestlers and the right storyline and get that right emotion, nobody cares about how the industry or the business works. We'll invest and we just want to see where it's all going to go. In fact, that's the joy of it all. Half the time you know the direction we're actually going to head in, but it's all the twists and the turns that you don't expect, which makes you go, woo-ha, I love pro wrestling. I mean, just look at everything that happened with CM Punk and John Cena in 2011. Elements of reality did help with that no end, but it was made quite clear what the deal was. You didn't have John Cena coming out going, oh, this isn't John Cena the character talking, this is John Cena the man talking. And while you think this is part of the narrative, it is certainly not. I have decided to shatter all of that and just come out here and air my real life grievances. No, you didn't. He was just flipping John Cena that we see every week, and he didn't appreciate how CM Punk was acting. Also, this was just one instant of this and not 3 that happened in around about the space of 7 days. I think Dave Meltzer summed it up best when he said that you can probably get away with doing one story like this every year, especially for a program that's going to be the main event of WrestleMania, but if you overdo it, it is like taking a sledgehammer that says fake on it and smashing somebody in the skull. It's like when I go and see a movie. I don't want George Clooney to pop up halfway through and say, oh, Simon, by the way, I'm not a real doctor, you numbnuts. Why did you even bother spending your money to come here to the theatre? Go home and think about your damn life. By that same token, I don't need Triple H to remind me that he's actually Paul Levesque. Just make me believe by what you do in the ring, your character, and the story you're telling. I feel like I'm repeating myself. The alternative is relying solely on it, and then you get into a WCW situation. If you haven't seen that gubbins, well, I would tell you to go and seek it out, but actually don't. It will make you cry, because that was absolutely, well, it was just crazy. It's also why saying that Raw is like Nitro these days is off the rails. I remember one time Goldberg walked out on the match, and as the announcers told me, he did this because everybody in said match was going off the script. They weren't performing the moves like they discussed backstage, and he was sick of it. That is probably the crappiest thing that has ever happened in pro wrestling, and that is saying something. There is also better ways of doing this, and WWE actually did that this year when they aired their 24 documentary for WrestleMania 34. In that, you saw Brock Lesnar stand backstage, and he took his Universal Championship and he hurled it at Vince McMahon. And even here we are a year later, I had people texting me going, Miller, was that real? Now the word on the street is it was real and Brock was legitimately pissed off. If you do want to get that same feeling, if you want to replicate it, do it like this. Do it away from the cameras, even though the cameras are on it. But you know what I'm saying, and let it grow, let it build throughout social media and get people thinking. Don't just hurl it into their face by saying, ha ha ha, it's time to be fake. And don't forget, there is an art to pro wrestling that extends further than just being a skilled in-ring technician or a master promo talker. It's all the little things that bring everything together, simply because in this environment, you can have a bunch of people backstage that have come up with an idea and all agreed to go along with it. That's why wrestling is so beautiful. It's because it's absolutely bizarre, and yet somehow it works. There's nothing else like it, so let's keep that sanctity and respect it as much as we can. So there it is. My PSA message, please stop telling me what wrestling is. I am already well aware. And if you want to do it in one big story, once a year or whenever, that's fine. We can have a bit of fun with it. But please don't make the entire program a bunch of dudes and a bunch of dudettes just saying, what are you doing? Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about all of this. Like, share, and subscribe. Head on over to whatculture.com, read yourself some articles. Go over there to Twitter and follow What Culture on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE, and go and watch more wrestling videos here on What Culture Wrestling. My name is Simon from What Culture. Thank you very much for watching, and I was thinking of ways to end this video, and I wanted to tie it into the whole fake thing, and then realised I couldn't, because I always want to try and be as transparent as possible. So there's a light there, there's a light there, there's a light there, there's a light there. My laptop is down here with bullet points on, just in case I forget my train of thought and I go crazy, and that still happens anyway, and usually I'm talking about how I'm going to die. And obviously, there's a camera right there. I'm sure you figured that one out. It's what I look down to broadcast my nuts messages. But it ain't fake, it's real. And if it ever is fake, I'll tell you it's fake, or if I am trying to do something fake, I won't then say that it's fake. And if that made absolutely no sense, well, in my world, it makes as much sense as a wrestling company telling me that what I'm watching is a work. Don't do it, stop it, or if you are going to do it, keep it to a minimum. Like the Ronda and Becky stuff was good. People were chatting about it, Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, everybody had an opinion, and then all of a sudden it exploded onto Raw with Triple H. And the Braun Strowman stuff especially, I don't want to go over things we've already talked about, but somebody please tell me what that was. I know it was like a shout back to iconic images from the past, but it don't work in 2019, as I said on Ups and Downs. What's next? We're going to go to Kuwait with The Undertaker and Vader going to beat somebody up and then get arrested. That's a real story. You can Google it. Shut my mouth. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you soon.